What's up, guys? It's time for patch notes for Counter-Strike Global for March 15th, 2023. We have three things going on, three news to go through. The first one is the event beginning of spring On&Hot time. Basically, we're just getting 3000 Ethereum, 10 T4 enhancement modules, and 1 fusion core on daily basis for 5 days. And we will have some discounts as well for crafting minus 20% and for battle minus 20% Ethereum cost. So decent, not too bad. Kind of shame this is only 5 days, but you know, free stuff basically. So the second one is the It's Coffee O'Clock, it's Caffe Strega event, and this one, it's just a draw basically for people. You go and register here in the event. It will redirect you to the Google form where you just fill out your order basically, which ones you would take, and here are the breakdowns of like who can win. It's just a lucky draw. Nothing spectacular. Most of them probably will be done by the time this video drops anyway, so overall doesn't matter too much. So don't worry about this. Alright, on to the main dish of today's video, the patch notes. Now, I looked through them and I'm pretty happy with what I saw so far, so definitely stay tuned for that. The first thing on our list is the systems update for the Substream, meaning the side stories. So they are changing the entrance count for hard mode stages for Substream to 10 instead of 3. Now, I'm not sure how to feel about this change, because on one hand I'm kind of happy to be able to farm units faster, and you know, you get more chances to drop the unit themselves, right, on daily basis. For example, if you're farming dupes for Orca, this gives you way more chance to actually maybe drop her, and even just fragment wise, it will take you way less time now to get her dupes going. So in that sense it's nice, but for people like me that have like few stages I'm trying to farm, increasing from 3 to 10, I don't think I'll have enough Ethereum to run those stages, I'll be honest. I think I will literally need to just run 1, maybe 2 stages max at the time, because my Ethereum will be just gone. I don't think I would be even able to do all of them. I think I have like 5 or 6 stages I'm farming right now for units, and yeah, it's 60 times like what, 650 stamina per each entry. That's too much. That's way too much Ethereum. Again, I think they should lower cost for side stories. They're way too expensive, and now with this change, I don't really get it. Like, you cannot farm this. Like, you may be able to do 1 or 2 max. So I hope that they will see that this is too much, and maybe they will at some point reduce the cost of those stages. Here's me hoping. Well, the second thing is that they added the shortcut for items, so now you will be able to see where you acquired said item, and it will display which episode it was in. So that's nice. For me, the most important here is definitely this one. Now side stories will have a new additional window where you will be able to see all the side stories in the tab, which is great. I've been asking for this, and I've been talking about this literally since the very first day the update dropped. Within first few minutes, when I was talking with my friend, I told him, hey, this shit is very unpolished. They should add some kind of menu that just displays those side stories in a panel. So The layout is cool for, you know, progressing story and knowing which story comes first, which comes second, in what order you should be reading them. That's cool. But for farming purposes or just trying to, you know, even go into shops and stuff, we talked about it, that yeah, they need some kind of menu that will just list them so it's easier to access, and that's exactly what they're doing. So I'm glad they're going to implement it. To me, this was big deal. So good job. Now the requirement for entering the Substream will be on episode 2. Now it says that the Substream entrance requirement will change to clearing all mainstreams episode 2. Does that mean just entry into side stories altogether, into like side story menu? Or does it mean that every side story now will be accessible if you clear episode 2? And I hope it's the latter one, because that would solve the issue for new players where they couldn't farm or they couldn't access those event stages. Obviously, it says that the episode's interconnected requirements do not change, meaning if one side story required you to clear the other side story, you still will have that requirement. But hopefully now, at least you will be able to do all of the side stories if you choose to after you clear the episode 2 in the mainstream. So we'll see if that will be the case or not. And then background music in Substream. Main screen will continue to play when entering into battle. It honestly doesn't fucking matter. Now, on to the news that we've already knew. The dive stuff. We are getting rid of the ship burn, the ship corrosion. That no longer will be in the game. So that's very nice. Now they're talking about deleting the surface resistor, which I think is I think that's the corrosion mechanic. I'm pretty sure. Then they're saying that they will have dive coordinates will have now squad formation tab available. I'm not sure what that means. Maybe you will be able to edit your dive teams or something from the tab, I'm assuming. We'll see after patch what exactly they mean by it. Then in the sectors, so basically on Euclid nodes, you will be able to have the event that adds random artifact. Okay, doesn't really matter. The icon images will change for the resources for it, whatever, doesn't matter. The dive sector doesn't matter. Battle mission will be deleted. The dive sector's battle medal mission. So I'm assuming the clearing in 1 minute and stuff like that. I'm assuming that's what they're talking about. Doesn't matter. And then background music for floor 45 and then 46, 49 will change. Doesn't really matter. Then artifacts, they're listing artifacts that will be deleted from the game and the artifacts that will be added. Basically, what they mean by this is some of them are returning exactly the same way they were. Some of them, as you can see, are just cleaner. They lose all of those negative, stupid things that they had. I still don't know how to feel about artifacts because a lot of them have all units, meaning not only you but also enemy gets buffed. So I don't really understand that design choice. To me, it should be just your units. Like that's how roguelites are played usually. You get buffed, maybe you get super buff. That also gives you some negative, like that I've seen, but all of those are minor. I don't really see the reason why you have to have all units attack speed plus 5% and not just ally units. Because as you can see, like some of them ally skill haste plus 5. So this only works for you, but I have to assume that all units attack speed works for both you and enemy. If I'm mistaken, then correct me, but that's, to me, that's what it reads like. Maybe it's just the wording, and this is only for your units, but if it is, then why some of them say ally and some of them say all units? Very confusing to me. Okay, Shadow Palace. Another thing we knew about on yesterday's video, but let's talk about it. The Shadow Palace rolls back before the 6.0 or Origin update, so we'll get the back all Shadow Palace, and we are getting back the shop for it as well, which is very, very nice. Now, the thing that I did not expect we are getting, and thing that I really wanted the Shadow Palace to have, is the skip button. This, to me, literally was all they needed to do with the old Shadow Palace. They just needed to add a skip button to it, and it would have been perfect. So now that's exactly what we're getting. We're getting back the old one, and we'll be able to skip it. We will retain all of the binaries that were in the shop, all the gear materials. People will be able to craft again. You'll be able to drop enhancement modules and stuff like that, so you'll have more to work with in terms of gear experience. So great that we're getting it back. I'm reiterating myself from yesterday. Feels weird praising them for giving us back something we've already had, but adding the skip function definitely is a nice touch. I think people really appreciate it, so very nice. Now, this section for new players is really important because there's a lot of changes. Well, not like super big, but there are some nice changes to the missions you'll have to do. So for the gauntlet, all they changed basically is you will be able to fight NPCs instead of people that are way higher than you for ranked, right? Like that kind of stuff. And also they did some quality of life stuff, like if your game is running and you're queued for ranked battle, it will unmute itself and give you a notification that the match was found, that kind of stuff. So not too bad. Not too bad in terms of changes. And also the maximum point loss was changed in ranked battles from 19 to 15 points, so it will suck less to lose, and you will be able to easier climb up. Also, strategy battle will have some consecutive win bonuses. I'm not sure if that's just for points in terms of like the ladder, or maybe I'm assuming it's just for points. It doesn't really matter. Like I climbed to, I don't know, 20,000, yeah, 20,000, which is way above required for max rank in strategy battle. So I don't think this will matter to anyone really. Even as a new player, you can probably climb to 6,000 and get your max tier without much issue. So now for the plan, like I said, there have been some changes. Those changes right here are just they just swapped the ordering of those missions, right? Like those missions still stay the same. You have recruit 10 units, for example, for mission 14. Now it's mission 10. Clear episode 5, interlude 3 and 4 is now, or it's right here, right? And before it was 15, 16. The Sigma story was here, now it's at the end. So they just moved around things for those missions, at least. Now, they changed the requirement to activate the employee growth plan, which is one of the mission sets. Now you, instead of master, like full completion of master plan, you need the full completion of beginner's plan, which I think is the very first sets of missions. So once you complete them, you will have access to the employee growth one, which I think is the one with dives, the one that gives you 75 fusion cores at the very last missions. So very nice, very nice. Speaking of dive, great news for me and for every new player. Dive missions are way easier now. So not only dives got easier because of the ship corrosion being removed, but now all the missions that were insane for a new player, now they're cut. So instead of having to climb to 45, like I did in Korea, well, I only got to 39, I think, or 40. So now instead of that, now I only need to clear dive 10 times. Wow, that's like way fucking easier to do. Same for 45, clear dive 15 times. Yeah, that's definitely doable as a new player. Other missions, they reduced the imaginary core purchase amount, so you need to spend less of imaginary core per mission, so that's nice. And all of the coordinates missions where you had to go to specific depth, now instead we'll have play dive X amount, right? So here's 1 free, right? Here's the shop, decrease, play 5,000, 10, 8,000, 10. So everything got easier basically in terms of dive missions, so every new player will definitely appreciate it. Now, speaking of making it easier for new players, another pain point for those missions is the gear stuff, especially now because, you know, now we're getting less materials, it's harder to enhance, and credits are lucrative. Now you will need less stuff, basically. A lot of those things are just cut in half. So when you needed to own 8 level 40 employees, now you need 4. When you needed 4 plus 3, now you need 2 plus 3 equipments, and so on. Some of them are not half, like here, right, from 8 to 6, but decent amount of them are cut in half. And the most important ones for you will be this. Instead of 10, you need 8 plus 5 equipment, and instead of 20 plus 8, you need only 10 plus 8 equipment. That's a huge cut, so definitely nice. Also, those missions got changed. Instead of having 110 employees, you will have more level 100 employees, which fine. Like, this mission definitely is hard, like 810 employees. That will take you a little bit of time to get fusion cores going, so probably for the better, both of those missions, honestly. Probably for the better. Now, some music stuff got changed. I don't really play with it, so I'm gonna skip it. We're getting the new side story, Project OZ, and we are not getting any of those characters as of yet, at least. In terms of banners, I'm expecting next week or maybe in 2 weeks we're getting those banners. Depends when the current banners end. I think they end next week, so I'm expecting next week to get them, but we'll see. Now, we are getting some reruns. We're getting Alex rerun and Ludmila rerun. So both of those units are actually pretty good. Alex right now is not good, but she will be getting rearm. I think we are like 2 rearms. No, 1 rearm, I think. I think we're only 1 rearm away. I think rearm Titan, and after rearm Titan, we're getting rearmed Alex. So in probably like 2 months, I'm expecting to see her rearmed version. So if you want to grab her now, it's a good time to do it. If not, then just wait, and maybe she will get another rate up when her rearm releases. For new players, I wouldn't bother too much with it. I think soon enough you will have Dorothy on banner. I think she's important. Right now you have Carmen. That is definitely a big pull, so I will just focus probably on those units instead. Like, forget about Alex. You have so many other rearms available to you that you don't really have to prioritize it. But again, if you like her, she will be strong when her rearm drops. So if you like her and you have currency, go ahead. Now for Ludmila is not like super meta, but she's definitely a good unit. You definitely force her into PvP, and in some PvE stages she's pretty good. So I personally like her a lot. I like her design. So like she a really nice waifu. So up to you, honestly. I wouldn't say she's a must-have, but if you have spare currency, then yeah, why not? She's a good unit. So onto the operators. As always, I don't really play with operators much because PvE doesn't really require you to. So all I can say is Serena is good for PvP because she removes the non-permanent buffs and you get the buff block for 13 seconds. You don't need copies either for it. So a very popular operator in PvP. Definitely worth if you want to pull for it, but like I said, every time with operators, I wouldn't pull on them unless you're a big spender because it's just like, you can craft those with task planet points instead, and there's no reason for you to be wasting currency on summoning on operators when you have a dupe system now for regular units. I would rather grab dupes of units than pull on operators, so just I wouldn't worry about it basically. Chloe, she's doo-doo. She's pretty whatever for both PvE and PvP. So it might seem like it's decent for PvP that she cancels barriers and sleeps targets, but Olivia Parker is a thing, and she cancels all the debuffs and makes you immune to debuffs for a few seconds. So nah, not really used. Now we're getting a new ship, Chorus, and even though it seems like this ship would be decent for Elysium Master's faction, it's not that great. It's good in PvE. It's better in raids, for example, than Kami-Izumi, but other than that, like it's just okay. Like I wouldn't sweat over it to try to get it. If you have extra currency as endgame player like me, you probably will craft it just for the sake of the having a new ship, but for the collection purposes. But other than that, it's not needed. There's like, as a new player, you have way more important ships to craft for PvE, so don't worry about it. Now new challenge stage opens for Nayubin, Alex, Ludmila, and Lee Suyon. I have no idea what those will have on them, but I am interested in Alex and Ludmila equipments. I will probably try to research it because I'm curious what stats you can get on them. If they're good, I'm definitely gonna consider farming those two, because again, Alex rearm will be good, and Ludmila, I think she's decent and she's waifu, so yeah, why not? I would definitely farm if stats are good. New raid boss, we're getting Britra back, so about time. It felt like forever to have Inhibitor, so we're back on Britra now. And new Panchen event. We're getting quite a bit of binaries and some enhancement stuff, and also quartz, so don't mind me if I do. This definitely a good stuff. I've been eager to have some more enhancements materials. So last thing are the improvements to the game. So now the tactical update, so dupes will count towards combat points. So I was wrong, the combat points did not count before, now they will count. So now the pay to win aspect of and the dimension trimming is on, because now your teams will have higher CP if you have dupes on them, which will allow you to actually clear higher floors. So very cool, very cool. The next one is, let's see, oh yeah, dimension trimming rewards. Now will be given based on which floor you cleared rather than how many points you've gained. So now it's all about going as deep as possible in those floors. I think 30 is max, so that's your goal. It doesn't matter about the points, as long as you clear it, and then you have the skip button. So good stuff. Location where you can obtain unit data will be now displayed. That's good. The next one is the item with time constraint will now display how much time is left on the item before it disappears. So, all the tickets that say, it will run out in April 14 or whatever, well, now it will have actual timer on it. So we will know which ones are expiring and which ones are not. Very, very nice change. Okay. In the request challenge, you will see the level of each dungeon. I don't think it matters that much, but sure, for clarity, not bad. Now the consumed resources will be displayed as resource that we own and resource that will be consumed. So sure, again, clarity stuff. When you will be placing rearm unit in practice mode, now you will activate the leader skill before it wasn't activated, which I actually didn't know. So that's interesting. This change, I'm not sure if this is a good change or not. But basically now when you will farm the stages and you will be dropping units, now they will play animation of you obtaining those units. For any new unit, this will always display, meaning for all rarities, right? After the first obtain, you will no longer see for NR and SR units, you won't see the obtain effect. However, for SSR units, every time you acquire them, you will have the animation play, which on one hand, it's kind of nice, I guess, to see that you dropped, for example, Orca. But on the other hand, like I don't know. Do you really need to display all that stuff? I hope there will be an option to have it disabled altogether. I can see some people not liking it, so overall probably doesn't matter too much, honestly. Maybe I'm overthinking it. So now you'll have a skip option. It will be displayed on the dungeon information panel before entering the squad formation screen, so that's definitely nice. We'll see how exactly this will work. I hope you will be able to maybe do it from the favorites menu, and there you can skip. That would be very, very good, and that's what I wanted since day one, so hopefully that's what they mean. If not, then oh well. Still, at least some quality of life, I suppose. So management guide will be updated. Not sure what that is. I'm assuming this is tutorial probably or something. Doesn't really matter. They will be changing how they display the medal acquisition. Instead of horizontal, it will be vertical now. Okay. Monster types will have tags now. So counter, soldier, mech, and stuff like that. But it's been postponed for now. So we'll see what they're planning to do here. Now animation will play while downloading the patch. It doesn't really matter. Interaction is added for Casey Beans, the rearmed version. I'm assuming when you click her, she has new interaction. So, okay. Don't matter too much. Now the credit option. So when you try buying credits in Gauntlet Point Shop, it will no longer have purchase limit. You can buy them infinitely. I don't know if you will be ever using this, honestly. I think you want to save your points for the next shop reset, so doesn't really matter. The red dot that is displayed on storage icon will now only show up if you have time constraint items. So if something is expiring that's when the icon will appear. So if you're hoarding selector tickets like I am, then you shouldn't have your red dot anymore unless it's expiring. So that's a nice change. Will make me more at peace. And the last thing is the units loyalty delay is now reduced, so you'll be able to more often collect loyalty on them in dorm, which honestly, good change, because this shit has been, like, to me it feels like forever. You have to wait like a week or something before you can collect it. It feels very fucking long, so good change. And then the last part of the patch notes is the bug fixes, but I'm not gonna read through them. It's been a lot, alright? It's been a lot, but really good changes, very good decisions, I guess, or fixes they're implementing. This stuff that we're getting right now is basically what we should have been getting on day one. Very obvious shit that just makes sense. Someone like me came up with all of those ideas within 5 minutes of playing new update, and I'm sure many of you did as well. So, that's what begs the question: did anyone even test that shit before they rolled the update? And to me, maybe they even knew about that stuff. They just didn't have enough time to make it good. I think like either they didn't have time, or they just didn't fucking test it at all. Like, to me, that's what it looks like. But hey, now we're getting a lot of stuff back, stuff we should have had, and we're getting back all the old content that was good, but slightly improved. So great stuff they again should have done on the very first patch, but whatever. They're trying to fix. That's what I've been asking, to just fix this shit as soon as possible. So I'm glad they're responding. They still have a few more things they need to change. Mainly for me, the stamina consumption. I think they need to reduce the Ethereum costs inside stories. That's like one of the main things for me right now, and we'll see if they're planning on doing something with Shadow Palace. Again, like, are they trying to revise it more? Because from what I remember reading on those dev notes, they did say that they want to revamp the system, revamp that the whole thing. So for now, they're rolling it back. I'm assuming they will be trying to make it different, basically. So I hope they don't fuck it up too much. We'll see. I'm assuming they will let us know what they're trying to do and when we can expect the changes. I'm assuming in like next month we'll see something about it. So that's it from me. Good patch notes, and I will see you next time. Peace.